Hello everybody and welcome. Hopefully everybody can hear everything and everything's okay. I think you can hear my game sound, which is okay. I just need to double check something else from the chat right now. Hold on. So there is this one and there is this one. So if I go to the channel points, there it is. Okay, so that one's ready. How are you all doing? Is everybody having a wonderful day so far? Okay. And okay. Field mod could be good for lights if you hit one of many city maps. Most important part is that we can hear you. Well, I've also added a channel points redemption thing in the chat that you should be able to click on, and it will charge you some channel points to be able to ask Luca, who is the representative of this feature in Europe, and you'll be able to ask your questions to him later. It won't start until about 4 p.m. CEST time, in about an hour's time, and then I'll be asking him those questions as well as once they go. Otherwise, in the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is showing off the current sandbox, which you should all download, give a go, give us your feedback. You have to take part to be able to answer into the survey, give us your feedback and let us know what's happening. Otherwise, how to install Sandbox? Go to watertanks.eu, and you'll see a web page that is currently talking about field modification. It's on the very front page, and then you'll see in the middle it says Start Testing, big orange button. You basically click on this, and it will send you to it. Everybody can take part in the sandbox. You don't need to do anything special. Just click on it, follow the instructions, download it, log in, give it a go, and see what happens. Okay. So while I then get into the correct one. So right now it's just taking a while for there it is. The game took a while to load in. Which tier 10 would you like, or which tank would you like me to show you the field modification system of first? I'll be 100% honest, I've not had chance to look into this too much or play around with it very much, just because I've been incredibly busy with other things going on, so I'll be going through most of this for the first time with you guys as well. The sandbox is indeed open right now. So we've got RT1 request, the STRV, some more RT, SPG, RT, more RT, and EBR, some RT, and IS4. Any more requests coming in? 279. Okay. So the winning one was artillery. That was the most frequented choice. So here we are. It's the first one here. And here we can kind of see the ammunition loadout here. Dun dun dun. What do we think? Do we need more armor piercing on the Conqueror gun carrier? Do we think we need more of these? So we'll keep it like this. Let's do this. All of the armor piercing. We probably don't need any directives on this one, as you can see on this one. Crew's fairly decent. Okay, so one of the first things that you're doing in the top right hand side is here you can kind of see the field modification system, and here you see the increase the get special modification, which all you got to do is basically just hover over it and it'll tell you which one you got to do. So increase. Yeah, I've got plenty of XPs. This is fine. Do you want me to just keep unlocking it, guys, or what? Just go through each one bit by bit, or do you want me to unlock it all, as many as I can? Why not all tanks test on Sandbox for free? What do you mean, sorry? For the memes, only use AP for tryhards. All of it. Okay, so unlock all of it. Max it. Okay, so there's one level 2. Level 3, level 4, 5 should be our suspension. And then absolute pimpmobile incoming. Level 8, hey ho, here we go. All of it, all of it. So here we go. So I can't remember, this was level 1, right? Yep, here's a level 1. Opportunity to equip all additional set of shells and consumables. Dun, dun, dun. Pretty decent on this one. And then level 2, which was this one. Which one do we want to go for? We can either have dispersion during movement, minus engine power, Which one? What do we think? I'm not sure I'm gonna pick either of these, to be honest. Engine power is good because it allows me to move somewhere quicker. I'm very rarely going to be firing on the move. But when I do move, I want to be able to shotgun things, right? More engine power? Okay, engine power just for you, chap. Okay, so next up what we've got. We have a forward speed to minus concealment when we're firing. Or we can go with lots of concealment after firing, but less forward speed. Everybody knows artillery doesn't move. It just needs more concealment. Everybody knows this. Okay. We skipped a tier. We went from 2-4 to 5. More dispersion. Dispersion during hull traverse. Yes. This one. This one does have a turret, so we need this one as well. Okay. What do we want? Reload time or aiming circle? Which one do you guys want me to use? Aim? Dispersion affects gun movement. Aiming, reload. Bigger. There isn't a bigger option, unfortunately. So we've got half reload. Hold on, we can do this. Okay, there's the poll on Twitch. And for YouTube, we've got all of it. 1 reload. Reload's winning 5-4 right now. You got a shaft filter 4.4 days ago. What equipment should you choose in this testing box? Honestly, I haven't had time to really experiment with too many vehicles, so I can't tell you 100%. Okay, so reload is definitely working here. Terrain crossing capability? Yes, it probably does mean terrain resistance. So it'll usually affect how much power you lose changing like over marshland, etc. Okay, so reload is the one that works. So there you go. There's the reload as voted by chat. Okay, and then we've got vehicle hit points, stun duration, but increased aiming speed. Or we got increased aiming speed, but less all of those. More stuns. Aiming, so this one. Weight reduction increases reduce. This is a really like confusing way to say this. Increases aiming speed, reduces aiming time. So here we go. Oh, no. I got weight reduction, weight reduction, weight reduction. Okay, there's that one. Okay, and then okay, did we pick everything? Yes, we did. What do we want? Scout? Do we want more scouting on our artillery guys? Do we want more view range? We'll be assigned to the second equipment slot, so we can improve our equipment slot assignment. Scouting. Do we think we need view range on our Conqueror? Scouting. What do we think? Scouting or survivability, guys? Scouting it is. Okay. It's not the end of the world. It does cost us credits if we make a mistake to change it over if we want to. But here we go. We now have Scout Conqueror. We actually have a Scout Conqueror, guys. Okay, let's fix this. What's our view range at? Actually. Look at that bad boy. Would you look at that, guys? Oh, so much gloriousness. Yep, we're going to keep it like that. You can put 2 turbos on anything. Wait, what? Okay, are we ready for this? Oh yeah, and the other key feature with this is really important. One of the biggest things out of this, guys, and for those that play competitive clan wars or tournaments, this is huge, okay? Huge. Huge. Actual loadouts. So if I want to play Scout Arty, I have Scout Arty loadout. And then if I want to do something else, if I want to just play DPM Arty, the normal Arty, then I click on this one. Huge. Diaho, is it possible to move camera box to the left a bit? It's blocking, hold on. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, I moved it a little bit. Da, 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 da. You're welcome. Do you think it would be allow people to make builds like include making tanks good at one thing and one thing only? Possibly, but there's only one way to find out. And of course, if you have a try-hard consumable loadout and ammo loadout, you can keep it there, and then you can have a random one. So this should probably be helpful. Stats. Okay, so here are the stats. Doesn't change much. This is really helpful so people don't keep spending oodles of credits and gold, etc. Yoinking out stuff and then being able to play in random battles. Rest is waste of focus. Well, that's because it's trying to... Oh, yeah. I need to actually click on. You're lying to me. The ammo's full. Okay. Nobody's noticing this bug. It's fine. Like mobility. Well, it depends on the vehicle, Mr. Somers. Have you tried it out? Move consumables and Prima for every game in front line and skirmishes? Yeah, it's a bias. I know the loadouts is not a big deal for like just purely random players. But if you've ever had to play in a tournament, or if you've ever had to play in Clan Wars, there is nothing worse than having 30 seconds being dragged into a team and people are like, fix your loadout now! And it ruins you so much. And you see this? Let's say you forget in the garage. Okay, this is super sensitive mouse. I'm in the office for the first time in a while, guys, so hold on. Okay, that's better. And if you forget to do it in the garage, you can actually do it here. Actually do it in the game, which I think is pretty cool, just in case you forget. Is Frontline coming soon? Fairly soon. Mr. Super Sensitive Mouse. It was on super high. Super high. Give you a free option to change modules in theory when you see the map and enemies. But what you're doing now is a parody of Choice of Ordinary Players. So, Aram, you see what you just did there? You see what we just gave you that option? There you go. You can't allow people to change things in the game random willy-nilly because how do you know how many credits they've got and how much do people spend, etc. Okay. Itty bitty mini-map. There we go. That's more like it. Incy wincy, tiny weeny mini map. Boop. No boop. No booping. So the shells, I forgot, do have a different shell speed, shell travel time. Spotting range didn't help with that rock. How dare you, sir? How dare you? How can you download the Sandbox? Go to worldoftanks.eu and you will see a page that helps you with this. Hello, comrade. How's it going? So we will be playing with other vehicles shortly. Okay. Something's spotting me and I didn't spot it back. Haha! You missed, enemy. You missed. Okay, what's spotting me though? Bonk. That's a rock. Came out of nowhere. Sacrifice the other side of the tank's performance? Well, you can't. So one of the things, I don't know what you're asking for exactly. I'm trying to concentrate on this and do the other. But it sounds like you say you should be able to improve all gun handling, but not worry about the expense of reload time, for instance. So I can see the slight bug with the shell trajectory line isn't working properly, hasn't been fixed. You're putting only 5% use of the config, it will remove burning if you change config, or how it... How do you mean, do you mean from the different loadouts or the different config? Scout Arty didn't work? Shh. You never know. So definitely less damage. Lots less damage. More resistance, but yeah. Splat is a little bit RTV tier 10, full hit or 0 damage. A little bit. How? But I know that this is a request from a lot of people. It's focusing on support and see how people do. Right? Can we outspot the Manticore? Asking the real questions here, guys. One with the bush. Nope, we cannot spot the Manticore. The Manticore's outspotted us. See, guys, and you were like, no, you won't need firing on the move. Owie. Yay, Scout Arty. See, and you guys doubted Scout Arty. Can we outscout the S-Conk? Da 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 da. Worked like a charm. Huzzah! Okay, we're not outspotting the S-Conk. Now would have been a good time to have AP rounds loaded, right? What? Shell had a mind of its own. Okay. AP rounds, let's go. Shotgun time. 3 arties per game is still too much. How do you know that if you haven't tried out the 3 arties in the current changes? Are the arty missions going to be changed? If they needed to, yes. Not direct damage also. I've not heard that much about mission balancing. That's because until we know for a fact it does need changing, it hasn't been like finalized to be changed yet. You and that rock. I know. It's like me and that fountain in Steel Hunter. You don't want to see HE change. We only need to have less of them in the game. What? How does that work? You do know that if you change HE that people don't use it by default, you see less of them in the game. Less arties. No, because people like to play artillery too. Okay. What's the next vehicle, guys? Is there a particular vehicle you want to see me tweak? I'm not a CC. Would devs consider S-Conk, 60 TP, Hetzer? How to get in the sandbox? Go to worldtanks.eu, click on the field modification article, and it will tell you what to do there. 279, STRV, Rhino, FE4005. The thing is, reducing arty to 1 to 2 max per game means you get arty in every single game. Every single game. So the EBR, FE4005 and 279 are winning right now. That's an assumption, Pity. EBR, more EBR. EBR it is. Okay. Okay then, Speedy Boy. Let's have a look. Just think, you now have all these things to do with XP. You've got even more grind to do on your high tier vehicles now. You've got something to do about free XP for those that just hoard it. But those they do exist, yes. But when there's talking about most people, that's not most people. Okay, what are we going for this time, guys? Because the bonuses do change. Forward speed or engine power? Engine power. It's all about power, right? Need to accelerate faster. Reload time or aiming circle size? Aiming circle size. Reinforced spalling, so HE and ramming damage, stun duration. Yeah, I don't care about reverse speed, thank you very much. Reversing's for people who don't know how to have fun. Damage to vehicle, damage by ramming, fuel tank and engine durability, or we get more reload time. Yeah, no. And then, to the duration, an enemy vehicle is visible to you. Ooh. Pot half a second? For that? Hell yeah. And then... Okay. So we have a shovel EBR. Fixed. Fixed. Okay. Ammunition is incomplete, I know. Survive the round by hiding all the time. That's the secret. Won't this change create even bigger gap between good and casual and average player? Upload it. It depends. It's one of the reasons it's on the Sandbox is to try and assess what these changes are like in the end. You know, you've got to have the changes tested to know what effect it will have. It's all about that base. No capping. Increased disparity that gets between tiers. Yes, Henny, we did look at that about a year or so ago, and when we tried to address it, most people were unhappy with it. It was called New Balance. Go faster, Mr. Wheelie Boy. Faster, I say. Faster. Yes, it will create a bigger difference. Well, that's the thing, is like, how do you define a bigger difference? Will there be a difference? Yes. Is there an increased difference? Yes. Will it be a substantial difference? Who knows? Whoop. Whoop. Meow. Meow. Yeah, there's a lot of people, like... Whoa, let's not get hit by the E4, though. There's a lot of people who do have very little to do towards the end game right now. Testing out when you love it. I'm curious to see how people enjoy it or not. Acrobatics. EBR players. Oh, how could you? I need to focus on not getting kabooped. Nope. Nope. No bullying! Stop bullying! Them dodges though. Them dodges though. Tankobatics. Iki booped. That's a lot of rounds that are missing me now. Building. That's a lot of enemies on the map. I can aim. I can totally aim. You call that as... Oh, hold on. 2 ramming skills you just took. Ramming skills? That's plus rank. How often do you actually ram something in a wheelie boy? Yes, that's the one I hit. Not the one at close range, but that one. If you're ramming things in a wheelie boy, you're doing things a little bit wrong. And a 0.5% difference is not substantial. Try this in random or not? Yes, but you wouldn't try this in random. This is purely testing out. Because I went with protection, like, does this protection actually count? Does it help? Does it matter? Ah. Wait, what did I just do? Nobody saw this. Nobody saw this. Hacks? Yeah, it was a little hacksy. I'm not gonna lie. There was something funky going on there with my camera. Just a little bit. I have an idea what it might be, though. Hello! Where did World of Tanks get installed? Is it this one? How do you switch to free cam? You accidentally leave the competitive mod installed. Okay. I can't uninstall it without having something else going on right now, so yeah. Iki banned, yeah, soon. Soon! So just casually having the competitive mode installed. Okay. I did want to try something out on a selfish means, guys. I actually wanted to try something super selfish, so just let me do this. Hello, I'm okay, thank you, Patronella. How are you? Petronella, sorry. It became an Unreal Fantasy with EBR. I think, sir, that you have mistaken an arcade game that was meant to be simulated. Save the man, save him! Okay. Okay, so let's have a look. This should technically be the same as the EBR, which was engine power or forward speed. Reload time or aiming circle. And I wanted a snipey one. This right here is what I was hoping for the most when I first looked at this, and I was hoping this was going to make it here. Can my Manticore stop getting HE derped and having both crew knocked out at the beginning of games, guys? That's the question. And that should be normal modification added 1 point sandbox. Hold on. That's because as blind as about what's up, pattern? There was a long message there that I cannot read all of it. Yes, okay, please go away. Shoo, thank you. Okay, that's a shame. But okay. Can we not get dirt in this game? Object 261 is bugged in this. How so? What's up, Nappa, with it? 28k XP per level upgrade. It's fairly substantial, but I'm curious to see how it is, how this is going to play out in something like Clan Wars. How is it possible to become a mod for this channel? You need to send cookies to the office. Stop destroying artillery, ruining the game. We're not destroying artillery, but we're trying to help as many people be happy as possible. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was going to change Blue Paw. I was hoping that by adding the second slot that maybe it would work, but no. Leads to targeted play on both by teammates and enemy on Sandbox. I don't think it happens as much as you think. Where's Jamie? Jamie right now is working. You will make experienced players a lot better and more non-experienced worse, so what should rethink twice before changes like this? Kiko, if we were afraid to make changes, the game would become stale and boring. I have a lot of cookies on my PC accepted. Ooh, I don't want those cookies. Those cookies need cleaning. Because of artillery being made unplayable. Patton, can you give evidence for this? Can you give me literal evidence for this, please? You think she's working, but are you sure? Very sure. Rabbit cat. Travesty. When you got a tooth and quit the game. No, that's an assertion. In 2017, there's well, not 5 years, 4 years between now and then. People find other things to do. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, fine, fine. I'm not gonna get booped. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, fine, fine. I'm not gonna get booped. Did I just make up here without getting spotted?
Enemy is hit.
I like whack-a-mole, especially when you get to cheat and get 2 hammers. When you're pushed into the enemy fire by your... Yeah, I've played the Sandbox the same as you and I haven't seen it happen yet.
We've damaged them.
Server put... We're gutted into... There was a lot more than just artillery changes in 2017 though. The gun handling changes the Manti on the Sandbox. Like the experimentals. What? Sorry, I'm confused. What do you mean? Just casually bullying a Progetto. It's fine. Do 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 do. Da, 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 da. I think Patton. I understand your frustration, but I think you're misunderstanding something that I've been playing this game longer than most people, and I know exactly what happened in 2017. Art is over here. Aww, I low rolled. Could you please rig? Yeah. Every time you make people nerf artillery. See, the thing is that I know that there's a balance of people, and it's more than just nerfing artillery, but changing the way that people want to play it. What happened in 2017? Well, the tank's 1.0. Was one thing. Was it 1.0 or just before? 2017 was just before it, I think. 1.0, no, 1.0 came out the year after. But you'll see a lot of HD changes during that time. Oh. Okay. How much easier counter battery? Yeah, but at the same time, counter battery is something that a lot of people are asking for to come back as well, and it's less about the counter battery, and more. I understand that that is going to happen, but it's less about that and more about trying to get people to understand where they need to dodge in future. Oh, I can drive. 1.0 was 2018, yeah. But I can't remember it because 2017 there was a couple of changes. But that would be the time when most people would come back and change. And it wasn't just, any changes make everybody quit. He knows. Well, I dodged just in time. No bullying. I said no bullying. Stop being rude! It's time to test out my ramming, boys. Aww. Okay, let's read this. Have ruined the games and how many people you quit because of people like you? What? Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what? So guys, Pattern Tanker is allowed their opinion. The only thing I challenged was that the opinion is not fact. I have a dream that one day will the tanks have enough players to justify rating-based matchmaking. The problem is that, so I've been through this a couple of times. Do we think this one, guys? Can we see how big of a laser beam that we can get? One of the things is that World of Tanks is would require a rating system that is not easy to measure. AP and heat rounds removed. Yeah, but artillery had more significant changes to that than previously. If an opinion is a fact, it isn't an opinion anymore. Yes, but somebody screaming "it's a fact" louder is also not gonna make it. Well, what was the phrase now? That was it. It's like, you're welcome and you're entitled to our opinion. I cannot force you to be right. Okay, durability or vehicle traverse speed. I'm feeling this one. When will update be live on Asia? It's Sandbox, so it's not going live. Aiming speed? Yes. Concealment or view range? What's my view range like? We're close. We're pretty close. And then... I feel like reload is going to help me a bit more because the reload time is so big it's not going to hurt. This one. I have a dream. I have a dream, chap. And it's a glorious dream. Do we think that's enough view range on a Death Star? Hello, Mitnick. How's it going? What's the matter, CEO? If you go through with this, you'll regret it. I will not regret 575 meter view range. It's glorious. WTR is a good system. It is until you realize how easily people can abuse it. Hello, Dart Singers. How are you? Will there be UI to show what is the tank's level in the battle? Not that I'm aware of, but it's a good point. Make sure you ask it with the channel points and we can ask it to Luca later. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. It should never have been a playable class. It should. The thing is, like I've mentioned this many times in the past as well, artillery was designed in a system that countered heavy armoured vehicles that had no counter in the past. Can't go through. Manticore just YOLO 3 artists. Is that a problem? All Manticores should rule the world. 1 team for 7 days on the test server. If you did that, then the of all the maps to have all the view range, this is the one. This is the one, guys. Otherwise, nobody will be able to play Arty. All of the problems there, nope, none. None. Pattern, but on that same principle, according to you, that not changing artillery also made people leave. That's not the case. It's like, just because all the people who end up eventually getting ill of eating chocolate cake does not mean that eating chocolate cake makes you ill. Hold on, we'll try. That is indeed Keyhand. Stream sniping. Look at him, disgraceful if actually. Can I report him? Aha! Do we think unsportsmanlike conduct or offensive nickname? Reporters are bots. A bots? Both? Report one of each? Just casually just zooming out, guys. It's fine. Okay. I'm so gonna regret this, aren't I? You're alone? Yeah, but I'm my own spotter.
Critical here. Drag here. Our fuel tank is hit.
What? Oh, I think we just discovered the HE changes. Want a refund? Refund. Nope, that's the ground. He's so gonna bully. He's not worth it. Oh! He sees me. He sees me. Bounce me. Didn't bounce me. Well, that was anticlimactic. It was nearly awesome. And then I bounced the EBR. He's back to spot me. Yeah, all of the bullying. Almost did damage. Almost. Okay. What other vehicles do we want to look at? We've done a tank destroyer. We've done a light tank. We've done both light tanks, and we've done an artillery. We've got a heavy tank and mediums left to do. Which medium? How did it bounce to 0? Can I show it? No, I can't. E50M. Type 5. Let's mute my phone. Okay. E50M. E50M sounds good, just because I wonder how much of a RAM machine we can make it. Enjoy the heat chip, that's what all wanted. No more kablapping. Speed build mouse. We can do the mouse after if you'd like. If I'd have fired AP, maybe I'd have stood a chance. Speedy mouse. Come on. Come on. Okay, so. View range? No. Engine power? Yes, please. Hit points? Yes, please. I'm thinking this one. This one. And definitely this one. Okay, let's have a look. Spore liner, do we think? Spore liner or improved? Which one? Spall? Spall? Hardening? Spall? Improved? So if this is for free to play, what the Primo player expect extra? Whatever you want to buy. Hardening? More hardening? Spore liner, hardening. I have a solution for you guys. Let's do this. You have to use turbo, yes. I was thinking both, but then we would end up with ventilation instead of more rammy ram. But let's try it. Okay. Luca has just got here, so we're gonna quickly ram something to death and then get ready. Come on. Synchronizing personal file. There you go. You want turbo? Oh yeah, turbo on first slot. That's a good point. Come on, let's drag. There you go. Okay, guys, let's see how much damage we can do by booping something with our face. Do you plan on introducing larger maps? Not particular right now, because larger maps tend to be for other modes. Not to say never, but larger maps lead to slower tanks getting punished harder. Did somebody queue Deja Vu? Yes. Did 10k spotting? Hacks. Hacks. I still didn't get why HE bounces without any damage. It's part of the changes in that it's got to penetrate to calculate damage like a normal shell. How about go for 60 TP inspired by is carrying the game? How would that look? Yeah, I was in the last game and I was gonna go for glory and blow up an EBR, but instead I ended up getting no glory. I bounced the EBR with my Hesh round. It was very anticlimactic. No fuel? No, because I got distracted by chat. So you can just skip all of them? Okay. Didn't know that one. Speed. We need all the speed, guys. So what's up with this configuration before the game starts? You can choose your loadouts now, which is pretty cool. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Turn, friend. Turn. No, don't turn that much. This guy can't drive. He's worse than me. Come on. Straight lines, friend. Okay. Makes you look like the Reaper. Is it worth grinding the ST2 or no? Yes, because the STB is a glorious tank. Something wants to get booped. Something wants to get booped. Bonk. Bonk. I think the 5A is going to bully me. So we managed to do a fair bit of damage to ramming the heavy tank. Oh, no. That's a teammate. Dominated. Well, this went well. This went surprisingly effective. I don't think this was supposed to work like this, guys. Oh. Glorious boop. Lucky? It wasn't lucky, it was all planned. All planned from beginning to end. North isn't looking good. That's why I'm going to try and clear out the middle and then see if we can't get on top of the aircraft carrier to jump on somebody. Okay, let's go for it. We've got questions and answers to have. It's time to ram somebody. Although I'm pretty certain I'm going to get sniped in the open by the tank destroyer waiting in the back of their base. I was wanting to sneaky run to the Reno, but it didn't work. Okay, so I think Luca is ready. All dressed up and fancy today. So here we go, you're on the screen. So hello to Luca. Some of you may remember from the last Q&A that we had on this stream, which was very effective, and a fair few of you enjoyed it and said that you would love to be able to do it again. I'm just going to drag on the channel points on here. So unfortunately not many people have asked many questions or ready to have this one. We do have a fair few people that have wasted a fair few points. So what we're here for today is Luca is going to be answering some of the questions from chat on field modifications. So if you've got any major questions, this is the time to ask them. Please use the channel points so we can keep track of them, we don't miss anything. But one important thing that was already asked and that I remember is that are there any plans, Luca, to be able to show in battle what level field modification vehicle is at?
Wait, is that the question?
Yes, that was a question from earlier.
Can I say something before
Go.
we start with the question?
Go on then.
No, so first I wanted to say hello and hello to the viewers, and I'm glad to be back in the studio. And so of course we've both been tested for COVID, but still, like, for additional safety, we're not sitting next to each other, but we are in the same room, and like we can see, like, David is right here compared to me, so we can see each other. Okay, so now we have wide angle view, so we are very close to each other. And yeah, I thought I could introduce myself quickly. So my name is Luca Bourguignon, and I am the publishing product manager in Europe for field modification. So that means I'm part of the European office. I'm kind of the specialist here on this feature, but I am not a developer. I didn't make this feature, and it could be the case that sometimes there are, maybe if it's like very specific technical questions, I don't have the answer. I might not know. So of course I'm sorry about that. We will try to get the answers in the chat, but I just wanted to make that clear from the start.
Okay, I got to turn you up a little bit. So now you should be fairly. It should sound all okay. Dun, dun, dun. Da, da, da. Sorry, I've got to open up the queue to see what's happening. Okay, so any questions? Can hear the French tones much better now. Good. Sounds okay. Great. Luke, be nice or be booped. Fix the matchmaker. That's not to do with field modifications. So far, there's not too many questions coming in from the field modifications on here. But in terms of, so on that last one, which was, do you feel that or do you know of any plans to be able to show in-game the modification level of vehicles? Is that something that is being considered, or?
So no, for now there is no such plans. I don't even know if it was considered, but I don't think it's a bad idea. And if that's something that comes up from the feedback from this result of the sandbox, that it's really wanted by the players, then if and when we decide to release the field modification, it might be considered as a, an addition, an improvement to the feature later. Like, I can tell you for sure it will not be the case when it is released, if it is released, but I don't see any reason why it would not be considered for later.
Okay, thank you. Somebody on YouTube is asking, so I'm not quite sure what they're trying to ask here, but the literal is the plan to change the game from basics to a whole new level with this field modification system?
So yeah, I'm not sure either what that means, but I want to say no. Field modification is not supposed to bring like that significant and huge improvement to your vehicles that you would be like completely on another level and you cannot compete if you don't have it. There are some bonuses, so your vehicle will be slightly stronger, but the most significant changes also come with the downside. So it should not create a very massive power difference. I just want to make that very clear, and that's really not our intention. And if it was the case that it happens, then that would not be our intention. We would catch it with this sandbox, hopefully, and that's something we would be able to address.
Thank you. Brian Pans, please make your questions relevant to field modifications, not random things. Is the second set of equipment going to be cheaper, as it's going to be a lot to get 2 million credits for all 300 of the tanks?
No, so you're purchasing the equipment, but if you are using a specific piece of equipment in your first loadout, you can equip it for free into second loadout. So let's say if you want to use two pieces of equipment that are the same, you're keeping them and you only need to buy one more, and that's especially relevant in the case of let's say improved equipment from Battle Pass, that you can use the same in both your loadouts.
Okay, thank you. And okay, gonna click that one's done. With choosing your loadout, does that mean you need to buy both sets of equipment? I know you've just answered this briefly. Or do you need to own them in your depot or something?
Well, if you have in your depot, you don't need to buy, right? But it's kind of what I said earlier, right?
Yeah. Guys, if you want to get your questions answered, please use the channel point system. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to keep an eye on chat to keep pulling them and not losing them. Just jumping ahead is not going to help. Okay.
I see one. Can I read the chat?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah. Go for it
or
if you want to.
Is
Uh,
it
it's-
only your privilege?
It's only my privilege. You're not allowed to do such things. So I'm going to do this one. Any ideas on the credit or XP costs for the field modification system? Is it going to be the same or different?
So the values that are in Sandbox are not final. That might change in either way. What I can tell you about the XP cost is that researching the entire field modification for a vehicle should not cost more credits than researching a vehicle of the same tier. It should be slightly less, like slightly less. But we will adjust these values, and for credits, so it is supposed to cost some credits, but we are not sure about the value yet. Whatever is in Sandbox is not final, and we just need to find the right balance, the right balance that works for everyone, and that is fair and makes it work.
Okay, thank you. Chat's frozen a little bit right now. I'm not sure, Mental, if you want to re-ask that question, because we've just answered it, but I've just rejected it for now. Re-ask if you need to. Have you also considered adding module different builds, especially on lower tiers, like using a derp or regular gun? So I think this is to do with, because you have the loadouts now for equipment and shells and consumables, have we thought about doing the same with modules on vehicles?
So let's say it's like a second configuration, but for the modules. No, I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it cannot happen ever in the future, but as far as I know, we don't have plans for this yet.
Yeah. So the reason that I wanted to ask that is just in case, because I know some loadouts will change. Like if you take a KV2 with a derp gun, you need very different equipment to one with a normal gun. So maybe it was just something. Stoffer, if you don't want to make that huge changes with modifications, sorry, I'm having to read a very long question here that confuses itself. Is this just the first step in development for gameplay to help modify tank to a specific player's needs?
I would say it is part of a will to move in a direction like this.
Okay.
Because for example, we had Sandbox for Crew 2.0 earlier this year, so it went back to the drawing board, but there was also similar ideas of the player being able to customize and adjust the gameplay of their vehicle to their specific needs and their playstyle. So I would say that's definitely something we are looking at in the in the balance and World of Tanks as a larger system, and we are interested in developing.
Because I know that one of the things that people keep asking for in tanks is like, just release more tanks, but you have to do more than just keep throwing tanks at a game.
So ideally, right, with this notion of adjusting and customizing your gameplay, you could have the same vehicle, and depending on how you build it, have a very unique gameplay and playstyle. And this way, maybe we don't need to release so many tech trees and nations for the players to get a new and different and exciting experience.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure how this question is related, Uploader, so I'm going to reject this question for now. If you make it relevant to field modifications, I'm happy to ask it, but I'm confused what this...
Who is it from?
It's Uploader51. So the question is, can you use bonds in one and not bonds in the second without spending bonds on changing? Now you need to spend bonds to demount, which I don't think is relevant.
So that would be about the second loadout, right?
I think he's asking that if to use bonds to demount the equipment in the slots.
So it works same as now, right? If you want to demount it, you still have to spend points.
Yeah, so that's why he's asking if you can change that, and I don't think it's relevant to field modification. I think it's just a general.
It works the same as now, basically.
Can the so-called equipment slots be unlocked by free experience or credits?
Sorry, which part?
So it's this equipment slots. I'm assuming it means the second slot enhancement. Can it be unlocked by free XP or by credits?
So yes, you have to spend XP, and you can't convert free XP into XP. So yeah, technically you can get it with free XP.
Mm-hmm. I just saw a question that you're probably going to catch on there that you may want to ask to make you smile a little bit. Is they would like to know when John Wick will be released.
Of course, I cannot. I cannot share such information. Of course.
So please, guys, if it's a vague question, please try and help us make it relevant to field modifications, because some of it out of context is very hard to follow. Why have we allowed heavy tanks to have a mobility slot? Is it not going to make heavies too dominant if they have too much speed?
So that's not our goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, first part of the question, why have we allowed? So, you know, this system is like currently every class has one slot that is adjusted to their specific role. And then they can pick for the second slot one out of two roles. So not the one they already have, and not one that's like maybe opposite to what they're supposed to do. So that leaves two options, and it happened to be sorry, I'm getting a call or something. It happened to be mobility for heavy tanks. Sorry about that. And so is it going to make them too dominant? That's not our plan. It's not supposed to. We do not want one class to be too dominant. So hopefully we get enough testing done with the sandbox, and if the results show us that it's a problem, that it's breaking the balance and one class is too dominant, then we will have to make adjustments.
Okay, so it's kind of one of those things, guys. You choose the lesser of two evils. You don't want camo on a heavy tank, for instance. So yeah, that's what the sandbox is for, as Lucas mentioned, is to try and ensure you test these things out. Does it need to be fixed, changed, or anything else like that?
But by the way, that is exactly the reason why we want and need players' active participation in the sandbox, because it's only with large number of battles and participants that we can get this valuable data and catch these issues and then fix them, so that we have a product that is ready for release and that works and is enjoyable for everyone. So if you participate, like we really appreciate it. That's very valuable for us.
Mm-hmm. Does each level of field modification increase cost for the next level of field modification for the same tank?
So the question is like, is level 2 more expensive than level 1?
Yes. Like, is it going to be exponential every time it goes up?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, like, for those that have just joined, Luca did mention earlier, the prices and whatnot are not fixed yet. It's still, like, possible that they can change, but as you've just heard, that there is a chance or that they will be more expensive as you go up in the levels.
So I'm talking about price, but the XP requirement.
What is the reason behind making differences between a stock? Okay, so essentially making this a polite question, Agent Smith, is what system or is there a reason behind us focusing on making vehicles that are elite stronger or different than stock tanks?
Wait, I think I made a mistake in the first answer. Actually, I'm being told it's the same cost for all levels.
Okay.
So I guess I misunderstood something before. So sorry about that. Sorry for the mistake. Sorry. So what was
No,
the
no, no, no.
question?
Sorry, it's fine. The polite version of this question is, what was the reason that we chose to focus on elite tanks and the way they can make those difference, and the way that some of them can be enhanced, instead of focusing on stock tanks? I don't know if that's something you can share.
So why is field modification not available for stock tanks?
Yes, essentially.
Because field modification is supposed to be a way to customize your tank in a tank you're already proficient in, and that you're familiar with and you know very well, and you want to, adjust it to a way you want, and that's just not compatible with a tank that you haven't even played enough to get all the modules for.
A question from YouTube from Rui is, will the current accumulated experience on a vehicle be able to be used upon release, or will you have to grind the experience from scratch if it's released?
I cannot answer that because I'm not sure, and
Mhm.
I don't know, and I don't want to tell everyone like, stop using like improved crew farming.
Yeah.
Or I would say, yeah, it's XP, so it should work, but maybe we'll try to answer that in the chat later, because I really don't want to give the wrong message here.
I should have brought my tablet with me. So yeah, that's going to be important for some people.
Okay, wait, so I just got an answer for this. So yeah, you don't need to start from scratch, and if you have accumulated XP, you should be able to use it from the beginning.
So if this does come out, guys, everybody uncheck their Accelerate crew training and get farming. Blue Paw Wolf 1, a hell of a tongue twister name. No, it's not 100% decided yet, but an educated guess. How much XP will he need to save up on each tank to max level them, roughly?
Okay, so the exact amount has not been determined yet, but it should be somewhere under the value of researching a vehicle of the same tier for unlocking all the field modification. So slightly less. I cannot say exactly how much less, but in this range.
So hopefully that answers it and gives you a good idea. Let me get that one. So somebody's asking, why is it so expensive? Can you please make it cheaper?
Yeah, once again, the values on the Sandbox are not final. They are just for test. Like, don't you should like it's not final. It will change, and we will try to find the fair price that we feel is right, like balanced.
Mm-hmm. So I know this one was asked frequently already. Is there not a worry that this is going to make other vehicles too strong, especially like the ELC even 90 with high camo build?
Yeah, that's something we're thinking about, and that we are monitoring closely on the Sandbox, because that's not our intention. So if that should be the case, that one vehicle overperforms because of the field modification, then we would want to do something about it. And once again, that is why we need your active participation in Sandbox, so that we can identify these issues and make sure they don't make it to live server if we decide to release the feature.
Thuggy, yeah, I'm just going to accept your points. Please make your question relevant to field modifications. So one header is asking, are we not afraid that this change is going to add to the complexity for new players by increasing the learning curve?
No, not really, because it's only available for tier 6, and even then you need to have the vehicle in elite status. So I would say it will not really affect new players. Like, they will not see the complexity, and they will have plenty of time to go up the tech trees and get familiar with the other mechanics of the game before they are confronted to this and have to deal with it.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to rephrase this to be polite as well. Is that why do we feel that or why, if you can give an answer, did we focus on this type of change instead of, say, like you mentioned earlier, New Balance, when we went back to the drawing board with things like that? Some people are asking, why are we focusing on field modification rather than the big balance changes and everything else that we looked at previously?
I mean, we're still working on other things in the meantime. So why are we working on this specifically, and what is the value for us? Is we want to give, as I said, the option to players to customize their gameplay and have a more personal, unique, adapted experience to their playstyle. And we also want to give an objective for the more, players who have been around for sometimes up to 10 years. And maybe if you have researched everything, then it's a new objective. So the value for us, it allows us to keep these long-term players more engaged, more active. So that's the business sense for us.
So just to reiterate that one, Tengu, is that we know it's not answering the big balance requested, but that's because big balances take some time, and Luca was here previously with some of the discussions and trying to present those, and your feedback from the players was we need to keep working on it, and we can't, we just can't rush it.
So I've been working on several sandboxes now with Crew 2.0 this year, New Balance last year, and I heard some feedback and some comments many times that wargaming is going to push it either way. They don't care about what players say, and I think we have shown with these examples and these sandboxes that if the feedback is really negative and the changes are unpopular, we are willing to start working again and make the necessary changes so that it could be accepted. We don't want to push something against the community. That's really not our goal, and it will be the case here as well. If everybody hates it, then we cannot release it. It doesn't work like that.
I'm trying to decipher this question just around midnight. Please tell me if I ask this one wrong. He's asking why we need to buy 2 loadouts for each vehicle. So he's not referring to duplicate items in each loadout, but why not have everything in the depot so it's not attached to an individual tank at all times, even when it's garaged?
Well, it's the same as now. Why do you have to buy equipment from your first loadout? You need to buy it to have it.
So there it is. Elwin says, likes it so far. Will you be able to look at the stats of the vehicles with, I'm assuming with field modifications, with the in-game comparison tool?
Sorry, that one went down the wrong pipe. So our goal is for the in-game comparator to be to work with the field modification. Now, that's actually been very challenging for the development team. I know it was very difficult to get it to work. I'm not even sure it's working perfectly right now. For example, I know the one with the characteristics in the garage is currently broken on Sandbox. So by the way, don't look at that. It's if you want to see how it affects, you need to check in the field modification in UI, not in the garage, because it doesn't work. But yes, our goal, of course, is to have field modification working with all these other systems and features.
Okay, so got this one. Kenny BFG, I'm not telling you. But I'm going to accept your points just so you can't ask it again. After a few minutes into the battle, can you check what config you have chosen? For example, if you are a light and you forget did you choose the config with coated optics or vents? Thanks. So I think it means that once you've made the choice, once you get into the battle, is there a way to check throughout the battle what you've got equipped?
With your equipment.
Yes.
I think the UI looks the same as it does now. Like, we don't have improvements for that at this point, but it could be an idea for improvement.
Okay. Okay. Uploaders re-asked this question. He means to ask, if you use bond equipment, you need to use bonds to demount, but can you use second loadout to have a different equipment if you have bond ones in the first, without the need to use bonds to switch between them?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, that question makes more sense this time. Thank you, Uploader. Will XP and free XP price be the same? I know you've already answered this, but it's going to keep coming up as we go through the stream, so...
It's just XP price, and then you can convert to free XP if you want
to. So currently it costs bonds to demount improved equipment. Is this price going to remain the same with these changes, or will it increase to like 400 bonds?
No, it will stay the same. So let's say you have your bond equipment in both configurations, configuration 1 and 2. If you want to remove from both, that you should have to pay for both. But if you only want to change from one configuration and not the other, then you only pay once.
One from YouTube is, rewards for participation in Sandbox could be higher to get more players to participate and give feedback.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's hard to find the right balance. Is of course, the more we give, the more participants we get, and the easier it is to get participants. But the thing is, we cannot give too much, because we don't necessarily want people who are participating only for the rewards. We want the players that are participating because they care about it and they want to share their opinion. And we are giving the reward as as a token of appreciation, but it should not be that much of an incentive.
Yep, I know some people with the Sandbox. They play 10 games by pressing R 3 times and they load in. They get sent a survey and they're like, "Well, I didn't actually play." So
exactly. So that doesn't help us.
Why are you not allowed to choose the specific second slot?
So you can choose 2 out of 4 roles. So you cannot choose the same as the first one. That specific to the vehicle class. I would say it's mostly for balancing purposes and also gameplay purposes to bring more diversity. And you cannot choose the one that we consider maybe opposite of what the role of your class should be, to avoid, I don't know, like heavy tanks, bush camping, or
double the firepower, all the firepower. Sorry, I'm trying to. Don't cry. I'm gonna have to skip this one because you're trying to worm 2 different unrelated questions into this one. Won't tanks like the T95, the Object 26V4 become untrackable with some of these changes? I know one of the concerns is some vehicles with very strong tracks, and some of the field modifications make it so that you simply just can't do anything to detrack them.
Okay, so that's a bit specific, and to be honest, I don't know exactly how these vehicles will be affected, but I can tell you that is as a result of field modification, there are configurations that appear to be too strong, like overpowered. That would be a problem. Like, I mean, obviously they would still be able to be detracked, but the question is like maybe it will be harder or
Yep. Yeah. As long as you don't nerf my Manticore, I'll be okay.
So yeah, if it's overpowered, that would be a problem for us, and we would want to address that.
Would you agree that field modifications enlarging the gap between new players and long-time veterans more? They're asking for our opinion on this matter, in that why are we choosing again this route?
Yeah, actually, thank you for the question, because it's something I've been seeing a lot in the feedback in the comments. So I know it's a concern for a lot of players, and so it is true that with the base modifications, you get advantage. So technically, it does increase the gap, but I just want to say, like, this increase is very minor. It's it's not supposed to be significant, and so that's not our goal. If it turns out to be more impactful than what we expect and what we designed it to be, that would be a problem, and we would have to address it. But it should be really a minor bonus that has a minor impact that you wouldn't notice in many cases. Now the second thing is, remember that last year with New Balance and the reworking of the tech trees, we closed the gap also between different tiers. So I'm kind of going off track because
That's fine.
that was about newcomers.
Yeah.
But also I saw concerns about different vehicle tiers. So that's why I mentioned it. So we've been reducing last year the gap between tiers, and field modification should not be significant enough that it brings this gap, this spread, to a similar level that it was before. It would still be smaller, just to give you some perspective. So yeah, technically yes, it would increase the gap, but we want it to be in a very minor way. And also keep in mind that the dual modifications, they come also with downsides and downgrades. So in this way, it's just you are customizing your gameplay, but you're not necessarily, you don't have this additional raw power.
So just because the person Rui is asking again, you can select the loadout in the garage as well as in game. It's there for both of them. Undermask is asking that due to this amount of equipment changes and duplicate equipment in there, are we planning to add demount kits into the in-game store again?
So that's not really related to field modifications, to be honest. I cannot say if we have such plans. I wouldn't even know about it, because it's completely separate system. So it doesn't impact how field modification works. If and when we want to release it, maybe we will consider it. That's all I can say.
That's fine. Do we think that field mods are going to separate the player base as casual players with little credits and time versus those who are more hardcore and dedicated who can grind it out?
That's really not our goal. So no, I don't think so. And if it is the case, then it would not work as intended. Our intention is for very dedicated players to be able to customize their gameplay, not for them to be able to completely roll over the casual player base. So no, it shouldn't. And
if it does, well, hopefully we can catch it in testing. So that's why we have the testing guys. Kenny, I'm going to accept your points just to deny you asking that question again. Don't make me do it, Kenny. Instead of it costing gold or bonds to change the equipment between the loadouts, would it be possible to switch the cost to something else?
To remove
the cost in terms of gold and bonds for changing equipment when you move between the loadouts. Would it be possible to move that cost? So the exec says, would there be a cost of switching the load from, for example, field mod 1 and field mod 2?
No, so the cost to remove an piece of equipment for now is not supposed to change, but also think about it this way, that you might not need to, because if you have a secondary loadout, then if you want to have something different, you can put it in the loadout in the second one, and you don't have to remove equipment from the first one. But then if you do want to remove something, it would work because it's the same as now.
Okay, that's one. So this one is that if they want to train their crew on an elite tank, will they also be able to get XP for the field modifications at the same time?
I think yes, you should be able to get XP, but probably not as much as if you check the crew training.
Yeah.
In the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm talking to people helping me with the questions.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the blue window in the bottom of your laptop to go pink. So okay, well, I'll keep that one there, and then we'll see what happens with the next. This modification is pretty much the same we have today, right? You buy 3 equipment, then install them, except now you have the option to select the set on the field, right? So I think what they're actually asking is the one that you select in-game is the same as the ones that are in the garage. Okay, you got a blue window.
So, yeah. So can you repeat that question?
Yeah, so they're asking that the field modification, the loadout that you have in the garage that you buy, will be the same options that you have when you get into the battle. I think that's what you're asking, Brian Pans, but I'm not sure.
So, like you can set up your first and second configuration in the garage?
Yep, and that it will be the same in battle.
Yeah, it will be the one you set up before.
Yep.
Then you can pick from it. And I got confirmation that if you're checking advanced crew XP, like indeed, then you cannot make the progress in the field modification. Like you will not be getting twice the XP.
Okay. So there is another question that's going to pop up at some point as well, because I've seen it in the past, but I'm going to wait a little while before I ask it. Once you've purchased the field modification and then change it to the other modification at the same tier, do you still own the field modification, like changing, upgrading a tank or gun or a module?
No. It's not like equipment is not something that you own. It's I don't know, if you play other games, it's more like a skill that you train and unlock, and then if you want to change it and go with the other modification, you have to retrain it. So, and then if you want to go back to the first one, you have to buy it again. So the goal for that, why we're making it this way, is because we don't want people switching all the time. It's like you should understand like which one you want. You still have the option to change if you want to try the other one or if you're not satisfied, but you cannot change it every game. That's not how it's supposed to work. But you can switch if you have unlocked one of these dual modifications and you don't like it and you want to remove it. That's free. You can do it for free. But then if you want to research it again, then you have to buy it again.
So this is not field modifications, but a HE question. I'm going to ask this question anyway, although I need to remind the person asking this that we don't have tier 10 premium tanks. But I think I get what you're trying to ask, is that they want to know that the tanks at tier 10 that are special reward tanks will have a bigger advantage since you won't have to save the experience to grind to the next tank.
Well, I would not say it's a bigger advantage, but yeah, maybe you can get there either, but also I will pay attention We're talking about reward tanks only.
So they said tier 10 and premium tanks, and I think the idea is that because you don't have to grind the experience to unlock modules, they have the advantage that you can get to all the field modifications faster.
Yeah. So yeah, technically you will get there faster, but the advantage at the end is the same. But yeah, it's true.
Okay. Are there any thoughts about a system like blueprints for field modifications too?
No.
I would say it's probably a little bit early for advanced plans like this. Can free XP be used in place of normal experience to purchase field mods? I know we've answered this one a couple of times as well.
So it's the same. Free XP can be used as the same as you would use it to research a module or a new vehicle.
Our favorite Phil is asking, the UI looks very finished already. With that kind of development effort invested already, is the mechanic confirmed to reach the live server independent of community feedback?
So no, I can assure you, if the community feedback is terrible and everybody hates the feature, we would not release it in its current state. Now we believe in this feature, we like it, and we want to release it. But if people don't want it, we cannot release it. Like, that's not how it works. So I think what we would do if that would happen is we would get back to the drawing board and try to take into account the feedback from the players and try to implement it so that all the time and effort and resources that went into it is not lost, but we can use that and come up with something that's better and works for everyone. So I think that's how we would proceed if the sandbox stage doesn't go well.
Thank you. And just because I caught this one is that, and I know you mentioned this earlier today, is that some people are still saying that they're having the bug on the test server that they're having no resources on their accounts.
Yeah, so from what I heard, we've been able to fix it, but if it's not the case for you, you should try relogging.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, this is... don't cry for me. I'm not sure what you're trying to ask here. It looks like you're trying to give feedback rather than ask a question. So I'm going to reject it. Please feel free to re-ask, but in a question format. Is it possible to put a limiter on tier 10 tanks in general on test servers? Because right now it's impossible to play anything except tier 10 vehicles.
Well, what I can tell you is not going to be possible for this sandbox. But yeah, that might be a good point for future ones. I don't really know if it's possible. Sorry.
Won't the multiple configurations choice during the countdown in the server increase the time before the countdown and also put a disadvantage on players with weaker computers? Was this feature considered to be available only in the garage?
No, because that wouldn't make sense. Is what one of the values of this secondary loadout is that you can pick it, during the countdown to adjust to the matchmaking, maybe the tiers, the map, and what's in your team and what's in the opposing team. So you have to know all of that in order to be able to decide. Now we know about the situation that maybe it might be a problem for some players, and I think we've been working on solutions to make sure everyone gets enough time and gets a chance to have the time to think about it and change it. So hopefully that will not be a big problem.
Okay, and then so we're back onto the favorite topic of many people, and that is that. So we're talking about the big balance is taking a lot of time and a lot of effort and things like that. Why would we then introduce something that affects the balance at the same time before we finish the big balance?
Which one is the big balance?
Because we mentioned that New Balance was going to go back to the drawing board, we're going to look at a lot of various things. But until then, we're going to focus on lines and kind of rebalancing lines to go along. It was to the answer you gave earlier. People are mentioning that why are we taking so long with the big balance and trying to work on this while we're also putting features in that also affect the balance anyway?
Yeah, it's complicated to work with all these elements at the same time. No, I wouldn't say necessarily about big balance. I'm not sure what this means. New balance, I think we implemented it last year, but I know we had Sandbox recently about RT and HTLs. So maybe that's what the question is about.
I'm assuming so. It just says if big balances take time, and I'm like,
yeah, it's something that has to be worked together, and they do development for both these systems impact each other. So that's a challenge, but we're doing our best to keep development on both fronts. And the thing is, the balance is an ongoing work. It's never over. It's never perfect. It's never finished. So we have to keep improving the game and bringing new content and new things. We cannot wait for balance to be done. Like it's never the case.
Have 25 people working on one thing and 75 people waiting for them to finish. I'm gonna ignore this one because it's not about me. Field modifications. Why do consumables and ammo loadouts have to be grouped into one? Why can't they be separate? So why did we choose not to have 3 choices?
I think it was just more convenient this way. I don't know. I mean, convenient not for us, for the user. I don't even know if it was considered to have them separately. That's one of the things that if everyone wants it and we get a lot of feedback in this direction, it might be considered. We just thought it was more convenient and just simpler this way.
And then this is the one that I've seen a couple of people mention, is that a fair few CCs have voiced their displeasure for this, or made a video saying that a lot of the CCs dislike this this feature or this feedback. And why did we choose to proceed with testing anyway?
So first, I would say I don't necessarily agree with this. We had a preview with a small number of CCs because we wanted their opinion about balance, because we were fine-tuning like the power of each modification and we wanted their input, so we asked just a small number of them, but also it was an opportunity for us to get feedback from them. So there were things they liked and things they didn't like, but I don't think it would be fair to say, oh, it was completely negative and nobody wants it. Now, like, this is why we are testing. We haven't proceeded with anything. It's not in the live client. It's not in the game. We believe in this feature. We think it can be a great addition to the game. And if the feedback proves us wrong and nobody likes it, we will listen to that. And we will make the necessary changes. But right now, we're just testing. So one cannot say we're proceeding.
Will the field modifications be available for tanks from Battle Pass and ranked battles, as well as other vehicles like the AE Phase 1 and the Kampfpanzer 50?
Yes.
Easy question. I thought I'd give you an easy question for a while. Can you use 2 of the same equipment?
Yes, you can, and even better, you don't have to buy it twice.
See, I told you, 2 easy questions. Now we're back to the difficult ones. It was mentioned if you didn't have equipment in your first configuration, you can add it to your second for free. But as I asked earlier, you need to pay 200 each to remove them. Doesn't that mean you basically duplicate them for 200 bonds? That they are confused.
Would I consider duplicate it? I would not say duplicate, because you cannot use both you cannot use it twice together at the same time. So you still only have one.
Sorry, I'm just making sure. So, like, I think what the person's trying to say is that essentially you're paying 200 bonds to split it in two, but you're not using the second one when you're using the first one, and you're not using the first one when you're using the second one. So I think that might answer it very. Many players are saying that premium account users should get an extra loadout option. Do you agree or disagree with this?
Of course. No. No, and we have no such plans.
No, like premium account, and they get 5 loadout options.
You know what? That's a great idea. Let me write it down.
Thank you, Champete. We know who to thank for this. Have you guys thought about setting a fixed price for different modification tier slot, i.e. once you buy the tier, you can freely choose any of the 2 for that tier instead of buying it for each tier again when a player decides to change it?
So no, because we want it to be more difficult to change it, so that you would not be able to do it all the time. So you still have the option to do so if you want to. And by the way, removing, if you want none of the dual modifications, that's free. But if you want to switch, you have to purchase again, and that's by design. That's intentional.
No, very, because once you've removed it, it's not on the tank, unless I'm confusing your question. Okay. Of course, Reese is asking how fast will the EBR go with the new modifications?
Sorry, I don't have the top speed at the top of my head. But as I said several times, if we find out that it's breaking the balance and is too strong and the vehicle is overperforming, or it's negatively impacting the experience, we would have to do something about it.
In the video, they saw a Type 5 Heavy with 4,000 hit points. Is the field modification actually going to do this?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, so apparently people have been seeing a video with a Type 5 that has 4,000 hit points. And they want to know if it's field modifications that's going to do this.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust in the video that it's the exact numbers. That seems a bit high to me.
Yeah, I was trying to think, and I'm like, well, maybe I've just completely not thought of something. So yeah. How long is the time to choose the equipment and ammo? Because some players have slower PCs. So I think this is back to the previous one, which is how much of that countdown time do players have to make that decision?
The entire countdown. No, I know it was considered that you would have maybe also in the 30 seconds after the countdown, but I'm not sure if we have it or if we have it yet. So sorry about that. Don't take my word for it. But we know about this issue is the most important, and we want to address it. So hopefully it should be okay, and everyone should have enough time. That's our goal, at least.
And I knew this one was going to come. Is Eloin, I'm going to rephrase it to be a little bit less aggressive, is that why was spotting chosen for the special mod slot for artillery?
This new playstyle option.
I tried the spotting Conqueror gun carrier and it didn't work.
Didn't work?
It didn't work.
Maybe it will with field modification. No, so as I said earlier, is each class, vehicle class cannot use the same as the first one, and has one that it blocked that they cannot use. So it gives a choice out of 2. So first, for RT, if you don't want spotting, you don't have to. You have another choice. I can see it being useful. I don't know, maybe you will see a light tank coming towards you faster. Okay, but yeah, you don't have to go with spotting. Yeah.
Scout out, it's the future. So somebody's mentioning again that it's not really a question, but they would like to know if bots are planned to be turned on the test server so people can test out lower and middle tiers.
I've heard about an idea like this, not on this sandbox, for sure. It might be possible in the future. No promises, but not right now.
What if players provide some feedback that some parts of this feature are amazing and some are not? Would that mean that the one with good feedback goes into further testing?
If we get good feedback about something, I think we would like to bring it to the game relatively soon. Now, if there is another part that's really bad, there could be different cases where, maybe we bring just one part and rework the other. That has happened before, or maybe the entire feature gets delayed until we get everything working. So these are two possibilities.
A question: the reload buff. How works the gun stats debuff? I'm not sure how to phrase this, but I think this is because I know some of the wordings for some of the buffs and debuffs can be a little bit confusing for some people. Do you know if there's any plans for this to change?
So reload buff?
Yeah, like one of them said, if I remember correctly, with one I saw was such as it increases aiming time, but it actually means improves aiming time, not actually increases how long it takes you to aim.
Well, unless you take the other dual modification, in which case it would increase aiming time. And now for the reload, maybe that's what the question is about, because it's more complicated. So first, all bonuses are on base stats of the vehicle, right? So it doesn't take, it's not cumulative with the bonuses from crew and equipment. And also there is one case about medium tanks with auto reloaders that have a modification that impacts reload. And in this case, it would be only for clip reload and not intra-clip reload that it would affect.
Thank you. So Timotei, it's not related to field modifications on YouTube, so I'm not going to ask it. Going to mark that one complete. How do we plan to quantify play feedback? Only via Sandbox surveys, or will there be other methods, for example, Discord feedback channels or polls?
Yes, so that's a very good question. The most important and valuable for us is surveys. So please, first, please do the sandbox, and if you do participate, take the time to answer the survey. And I'll tell you why it's the most valuable, because it also allows us to check player profiles, because maybe in the game we have a large portion of casual players, but they might be underrepresented on the sandbox, and we will have an overrepresentation of the most engaged hardcore players there. So with the survey, we can look at the profile and check the feelings and perception of all the different kinds of players. We can check the behavior of all types of players, and that's the only tool that allows us to do that. And so that's why it's the best way to get a representation of all the profiles and types of players. So that's what is incredibly valuable.
Yep.
Now we do look at other platforms. Even from the stream, we will have a summary and see what comes up most often. But we look at Discord, forums, social media, YouTube comments, everything, and that helps us identify maybe what are the major concerns and pain points and controversial elements. And for that, we don't even need to wait for the survey to know if there is a big problem.
Yep.
If everybody talks about it, we already know we don't even need the survey. Like we know we have to do something about it. And also it helps us for the survey that we might want to make a last minute adjustment. The survey is already, the questions are already prepared, but we might still have the option to add something in relation to the feedback. So that's how that helps us as well.
So I just want to reiterate, we've passed this message on many times on this channel, in that the big thing in the advantage of surveys is there's too many people who never actually play the sandbox or common test and go, I hate it. Have you tried it? No, because my friend told me I should hate it, thus I'm gonna hate it.
So yeah, that's not very productive and constructive. And if you really want to be heard and have the impact you want in the game and see it move in the direction you want, the best way to do it really is to go try it on Sandbox and answer the survey.
Thank you. The sandbox buffs and debuffs, will they be lower for different game modes like skirmishes or clan wars or advances, because it will have a big impact during some of those games?
No, it's not planned for now. I can see a possibility that, I don't know, if for some reason some game mode is negatively impacted, maybe there would be some adjustments, but not for now. It's not planned.
Thank you. So I'm not sure if you can answer this, but it's going to be good for other people, in that because of the focus on field modifications, people are curious what happened to other changes like Crew 2.0. Are they still being worked on?
Yes, they are still being worked on.
Yeah. So just because this is more visible right now, guys, it doesn't mean that other stuff has stopped being done. I'm going to ignore skills question.
And also, by the way, it's not necessarily the same team working on this.
Yep. Herbert, please make your questions relevant to field modifications. Otherwise, people would be asking everything, everywhere about everything. Will the stats mod change between maintenance, or will it be set in stone for the entire session?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
I'm trying to look, because the exact question was, will the stat of mod change between maintenance, or will it be set in stone for the entire session? I think it means when you change your loadout, will it be changed throughout the whole of the session until you change it back, or will it automatically revert? So like when you go in game and you choose loadout 2, when you go back to the garage, will it be loadout 1, or will it stay as loadout 2?
Good point. I'm not sure because I didn't even have time to go try it for myself today. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would go back by default to your main configuration, and then you will have to change it. But I haven't tried it for myself, so I'm not 100% sure.
I haven't tried it either. I will try it though.
So okay, so I just got confirmation. It goes back to main one, and then you can switch to the second one.
So there's your answer. Thank you. Keiko, I'm not sure what you're asking there. I'll ask the question anyway, but I'm pretty certain you won't have an answer to this because it's I don't get the context. If it's harder to remove, how are we supposed to test out which works better for us?
I don't know if this is about Sandbox.
I think it's to do with the modules that you choose or swap.
So I would say it's about the dual modifications.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's like for Sandbox, you should have resources to test everything you want. Now, for the main one, like if we decide to bring it to the live server, well, you will have to make decisions on what you want to do, what you want to test, and if you don't like it, then there is a price for that. That's by design. That's just how it is.
So somebody was saying that it's about the live server.
Actually, to remove it is free. Is to go to the opposite side that costs money.
Yeah. Okay, so I've asked this one. Isn't it a problem that tanks being more effective means battle will be faster?
Well, more effective first. Let's say, yeah, slightly more effective, but with the dual modifications, you also have a drawback, a negative aspect. So technically, you wouldn't have, more raw power, and you'd be more specialized, maybe, or well, not necessarily specialized. You also might be more versatile, but not necessarily more effective. Now, with the standard modification, yes, there is some improvement, but we don't want it to be too significant and too much. So if we notice it has a negative impact on battle duration, that would be a problem. That's not what we want, and we would have to do something about it.
Okay. Let's go with that one. Another random question. I apologize already for you having to repeat yourself. Why can't we choose a survivability bonus for the leopard one? So this is going back to the why you're forced into the certain module layouts and option perks.
So it's a systemic decision. We decided that for the second one, you cannot have the same as for the first slot. So to bring more diversity and for balance purposes, and you cannot have the what would be considered the opposite one. So you have to choose between the other two roles remaining, and all the vehicles, all the classes have these options. That's just how it is.
The current proposal appears to be for min-maxing loadouts in a specific game mode, like randoms. Was the thought given to allow us to have multiple loadouts for multiple different game modes? Like 2 loadouts for randoms, 2 for ranked, and 2 for strongholds?
I don't know if it was considered exactly this way, but yeah, we also considered the second loadout as a value for playing different modes with the same vehicle. And I know it was even considered to have a third loadout. So for now, we just have the 2 and they apply for all game modes. But if it's a very popular request, who's to say we cannot do something like this in the future or bring the third loadout idea?
Have we considered the impact in random games such as Prokhorovka, where the likelihood of tanks with camos / plus binos will make gameplay less dynamic?
So I'm sorry, I'm always giving the same answer about this type of questions, but it's not our goal to make the experience and the gameplay less enjoyable, and we are monitoring all of this on the sandbox. That is why we need and want your participation. And if we notice that happening, then that's not our desired outcome. So we would have to do something about it.
And then from YouTube, is it not going to remove, sorry, I'm having to change the English a little bit here, the weaknesses of certain tanks that makes them balanced? Will it not result in them being too strong?
Well, let's keep in mind that it might mitigate some weaknesses and create new ones, because the dual modification comes with a downside. So you have to keep this into consideration. But yeah, it might make a vehicle more versatile. And as usual, we don't want to make any vehicle overpowered. We do not want to break the balance. So if we notice on the Sandbox that it is happening, we would have to address it. And by the way, let's imagine we greenlight the feature, we bring it to the live server, and then for some reason it appears a problem occurs that nobody anticipated, and there is a problem with the balance. We can still fix it then. We don't want to break the balance, and so yes, that's not our goal, basically.
can't believe you're not going to buff my Tog 2 to being OP. Why? Why? Have modifications such as visuals been considered for vehicle specialization tab with no impact on statistics?
Such as what? Visuals?
So yeah, I think what they mean is being able to change how your tank looks with similar loadouts, like my appearance in this one, my camo in this one, and so
on. So why would we do that? As an incentive for people to do it, or for the opponent to recognize what modification you have?
I think it'd be more such as maybe people want a pink tank in random battles, but if they take part in clan wars, they want to make sure they have proper camouflage values on there. So they might want something that is more specific to performance versus something that looks pretty.
Okay, so that's like a second loadout for customization.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
I never heard this one before when we talked about it. I don't even know if we thought about it. So now, for now, there are no such plans. But I don't know if it's a popular request. Why not? It could be fun.
So Exo's saying that the speed in the game is already becoming excessive. That's the exact word chosen. So you know how I feel about this, guys. Everyone will choose the speed as the buffs to overcome this. Is it a really good idea to make things faster?
So is the speed excessive? I would say that's an opinion, but so I cannot really say anything about that. But is everyone going to pick the speed? We don't want that. That's not our goal. We want all the modifications to be balanced, and our goal is for everyone to have the option to pick different ones. And if everybody picks, let's say, the speed, then that's a very clear sign that that for us, is not balanced, and one modification is stronger than the other. So we would do something about that. And we will look at this. Like, I know for a fact we will specifically look at how many people pick which modification. Actually, we even had some internal testing and surveys, like with players from the company. We asked a handful of contributors to give us their opinion on that, and we did see like such cases in the earlier drafts, and we tried to improve on it. So yeah, I can tell you we don't want everyone picking the same. That's the opposite of what we want.
Okay. You'll be happy to know somebody on YouTube is happy to see you. They haven't seen you in forever, but they always ask for you. The French Keanu, they always ask for you when they're on the channel.
Okay, thank you guys. Happy to be here.
Okay, so somebody's just mentioning that they've personally gone on when we mentioned it earlier. They've personally gone to the sandbox and tested. They can't get a type 5 to 4k hit points. They're just doing us a favor. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
False alarm.
Isn't it going to cause even bigger disparity? Same question between old and new players. They're already outclassed by a large degree with bad crew, stock tanks, and lack of equipment, etc. Are they not going to find it even more overwhelming to face somebody who has everything unlocked?
So our idea is not to make the vehicles drastically stronger with field modification, because these dual modifications that come with downsides. So you would not necessarily be that much stronger, but you would have a different gameplay, and that may be more suitable for what you want to do. And the only raw increase would be in the standard modification, but it's only supposed to be very minor, and it should not be impactful every battle. Like, maybe there could be a case like once every, I don't know, 20 battles you would survive on 1 HP where you would have died, but it should not be more than this. The difference.
So this is a question I haven't seen so far, is that will there be a similar situation like when Equipment 2.0 was released, when everything was demounted, so people are free to choose their loadouts from fresh? Especially because competitive players use multiple loadouts, some of us may have competitive equipment pleasantly equipped, etc. So is there a chance this will happen again when this goes live, if it goes live?
I'm not sure why competitive players would need it specifically. I mean, you can keep your same loadout as you have now, and then you can equip another one. Like, I don't see a reason why we could equip. Now, I can't really answer this question with certainty because it's not necessarily about the field modification, but it's more about how we will implement it, and we still have a lot to discuss and work on for that, and there are no decisions that have been made yet. So like, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I cannot tell you because nobody knows. It has not been decided. But like spontaneously, I'm not sure there is a need for that. I don't really see it.
A nice question for you is that people mentioned, well, X is asking that they've noticed being able to choose a loadout during countdown, and this fixes a lot of issues with people entering to the battle with the wrong loadout or not being able to properly adapt to it. Was this a planned benefit or was it just a coincidence?
Yes. I don't know. I would say, was this planned? It makes sense in the scope of this feature. Like, it's not the reason why we did it. Like, we didn't say, okay, let's make a feature so that people can fix their loadout if they got it wrong. But it's an added benefit.
Somebody's asking, I know this person wasn't here earlier, how much XP is needed for tier 10 to unlock all of the options? Won't it be very grindy?
So overall, unlocking the entire modifications for one vehicle should cost somewhere under the same amount of credits as not credits, XP, as it would cost to research a vehicle of the same tier. So in the same range, but not more. And that works for all tiers.
Out potatoed. If you ask the question like this again, I'm going to boop you myself. There's your warning. Okay, so we're back to actually, they mean, will the stat of field modifications be changed, buffed or nerfed? Some parts, such as nerf rotation. Sorry, I really don't understand what you're trying to ask, Salty. So the exact, maybe you can decipher this. I'll say it word for word. Actually, I mean the stat of field modification be changed, buff/nerf some part such as nerf rotation from -5% to -7% in heavy turret module after maintenance day by day, or will it not change at all?
What?
Like, do you mean that over time it wears out more, or I'm not entirely certain what you're trying to ask, Salty. Sorry, like this question has absolutely baffled me. I'm not sure if you're still here in the chat.
But by the way, for people who joined recently, we are not sitting next to each other for to be safe with COVID, but we are in the same room, and like that's why if we're looking to the side is because we are looking to each other.
Okay, I think Salty's gone, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah. So maybe it's like, is it possible that some modification with a downside gets compensated by another one? Maybe that's the question. In which case, the answer is yes. Like it could happen in some cases.
Maybe I really don't understand this question. I'm afraid I've tried, but I just don't get it. How does ejector tuning plus 7% camouflage after firing field modification work? For example, if a tank normally has 7% camouflage after firing, does that camouflage become 14% or 7.5% after firing?
Sorry.
That's okay. That's a lot of numbers there.
It's a bit specific. So
I think, are you asking? Sorry, YOLO. I think you're here. Are you asking if it's cumulative, that it adds up, or just that it reduces the penalty from the firing?
I don't, even my guy working with the devs don't know. Like it's very Sorry, it's too specific of a question, so I cannot answer that now. But let's say we can, if you ask this question again in the forum or in Discord, we will try to find out an answer there, but I cannot give you the answer now. Actually, yeah, sorry to interrupt, but my laptop is running out of battery. Can I get a charger? Yeah. Thank you. This is the hero behind the scenes, our video guy, Jack.
Mr. Elbow. I don't know if you know the joke. A couple of streams in the when we were still in the office, every now and then he'd just appear with an elbow on the stream. And just
great elbow.
Yep. Best elbow EU. Some people, Matrix, would like to know why in the Sandbox do they only have certain vehicles and less than what they have on the live EU server?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So I think what they're trying to ask is why do they only have some of the vehicles on the Sandbox server instead of all of the ones they have unlocked on the live server?
Is that the case? I'm not sure if it's supposed to be this way. Maybe it's a bug. Maybe if you reload, that would be the case. Maybe that would fix it. I'm not sure.
So guys, we're coming towards the last couple of questions. If you want to ask any more, use your channel points. It just costs you 100, and then you can ask it, and we'll get you an answer as best we can.
Thank you, Jack. You're amazing. It shut down.
Perfect timing. So Champete is asking, and he's aware that you might not be able to answer just yet, but if this combined, or the field modifications combined with 2.0, how will they affect one another? Will they be, is it planned in combination with this? Is it being considered with Crew 2.0, or are they just completely separate?
Yes. So they obviously they would impact each other, and we are aware of that. And so it will be taken into consideration.
Okay. I'll let you sign into your laptop.
Okay, sorry about that, but I'm still listening. Oh, okay. It's working, everything, streams up, the chat is.
So Rimkey is saying, personally, their computer loads the battle 5 seconds before the battle starts. Will they be able to choose the equipment while the computer is loading the battle?
I'm not 100% sure now. I know we talked about it, so I don't know if it has been decided yet or not, if we want to do that. But we do know that it's an issue for some people whose computer loads slowly. So yeah, we want everyone to be able to have the time and make the proper decision. I would say 5 seconds should be enough. Really, it's one button, so 5 seconds should be enough. But yeah, ideally we want everyone to have the time.
Yes, the Sandbox is running now, so yes, you can download it and give it a go and try it all out.
Actually, so what I'm being told exactly is we are working on ways to make sure everyone has time, but we can't make any promises that it will work by the time we want to release.
So Randall's asking if you've been directly involved in this project, or if it's just information that you have gathered and been given.
So that's a good question. I'm not working on the project as a developer. I didn't make any of it, but we were given the chance, not just me, but several people from the EU publishing team, to give feedback from a very early stage, like even before any development had been done on it. We were receiving information, and we had the chance to share our opinion and make suggestions. And so me personally, I was the most involved in this because it's my role, it's my job, and I kept working on it like in this manner as the development progressed, with receiving information about the development, how it was going, which direction it was going to, and I had the opportunity to give my opinion and feedback from our team. So it doesn't mean that every time the developers would do exactly what we say and want. But so yeah, we had an involvement in this manner.
Okay, thank you. So I know you've already answered this a couple of times already, and it's a very short amount of time since we had this one, so I'm not sure if you want to answer it. It's just the same answer as before. But they're asking if there'll be a longer period in time to choose your loadout in the battle for those who load slowly. Let's say something crashes and they get into the battle. Will they still be able to choose it once they load back in, or are they just stuck with the auto selection?
So we're thinking about it, but we can't make promises at this point. But we do want everyone to have enough time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Salty's back with the question. So, like Equipment 2.0 and Sandbox before, that you change the stat of equipment many times. Okay. So we changed the stats of equipment many times during testing. Will this be the case this one? Like, will there be multiple iterations of where, like, next week we change the Sandbox statistics and the week after we tweak it again, or is it likely to stay the same?
If we're going to do like sandboxes repeatedly to make adjustments?
Yeah. So like if we get the feedback and we see statistics that, I don't know, a reload timing statistic, it's completely off. So we get all the feedback, and like with Equipment 2.0, we tweaked a lot of the numbers up and down depending on where we thought they would be. If we've got any plans for that?
Probably we would not make a sandbox just for that, because sandbox is only for testing like very significant new features, or if like massive changes have been done to a new feature. And if it's about tweaking values, I think a common test would be more appropriate.
Okay.
Like if we know it works and people like it, and then if it's just about fine-tuning, I don't think we would need sandbox.
There you go, Salty. We finally got there. Third time's the charm. And then the last question, unless people are going to start asking some more. So the prop that I'm trying to decipher feedback from question here. Sorry. Was it taken into consideration the effect this has on people who are highly competitive, and how much time it will take for these competitive people to grind, say, their 279, their chieftains, their 907s, and other vehicles that are used in competitive elements like ranked and clan wars, etc.?
So yes, we took their feedback into consideration. Believe me, we had the feedback. They do share it, so we have it. How long it would take? I think for like super competitive, super active players that would play, several hours every day, they would be able to get the ones they want relatively quick. But that's fair, if you're more dedicated, well, you unlock it faster. I think that just makes sense. But we also don't want the feature to impact the experience negatively for them or for other players, so we're keeping an eye on that.
Sorry, I'm having to read this because the first line is more of a suggestion. Okay, so suggestion for the system in case that people don't, in case people haven't been able to select one. So I'm going to skip that one because it's a suggestion, not a question. Since crew are burdened already and crew 2.0 is widely disliked, why can we not just move? So this is a crew 2.0 question. He snuck it into a one, so XO, that's a niet.
It's yeah.
Have you ever thought about having the default loadout set by each map while in the garage?
I don't know if we have thought about it. It's not like this for now. Maybe like it's always the same with this kind of like quality of life sort of improvements and tweaks. If it's highly requested, there is no reason it would not be considered and implemented later, but for now we don't have it.
So Exo says it's technically a 6 cents arty cents question. I know, but this is field
It's
modifications.
still off topic.
Still field modifications. So, have we got any last questions for field modifications? Oh, one just popped up. What about workshop upgrades during Clan Wars? Will they work in combination with field mods? It could make such as tanks like the CS63 go almost as fast as an EBR.
So yeah, it should, any bonus from a specific mod should work together, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, I know very little about Clone Wars. I don't play them, so I'd rather not to answer, not to say something that's not true.
So another question, somebody say, please do more sessions like this and make them at a better time to involve more people. So the challenge is doing this in work time and not at an insane time of night. And the longer that we leave to do moments like these, less people tune in. So we actually had more viewers earlier than we do now, because people are happy to watch this when they have a little bit of time, whereas in the evening, they want to have food, they want to play the game, and so on. And this will be available as a YouTube video afterwards, so feel free to watch it afterwards and get some of the maybe some of the questions answered there.
Yeah, I mean, that's more a question for you, because that's kind of your thing. But yeah, I agree. We would want to do it in the way that as many people can participate and watch it.
So that's the thing, Tengo, is that at the minute, on weekends, people are not watching as much because there's a lot of freedom coming to a lot of people these days that they can actually go out, and so they're enjoying it more on the weekends.
So let's say during the day, while you are at work, you can watch the Q&A, and when you get home, you can play on Sandbox.
Exactly. And on the weekends, you can actually enjoy the sun. Because this is a cheeky one. Because so many people will be buying more equipment, could there be more discounts on equipment costs or a permanent reduction?
I mean, this has nothing to do with field modification. So I don't know. Yes, it's possible. Is it going to happen? I have no idea. It's not necessarily related to how we make the feature and how we will implement it, and it's completely different teams making this sort of decisions.
Will it be possible to use experience from other vehicles?
Sorry, what?
Will it be possible to use experience from other vehicles?
No.
Only if you convert it to free experience. Okay, so I think that was the last one. Let me just double check through the YouTube. So Bobby, it's just field modification questions. Alwyn, map rotation is map rotation. I would worry less about that and focus on testing out the features that are in there. So any last questions, or is everybody good? My chat has paused completely right now.
I'm trying to go through the chat as well, see if I find something.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're okay. Okay, unpaused. Unpaused? Ah, you fixed it. Thank you. I don't know if you can answer this. How long is it since this went into development, or how long has this been in development?
It started early this year, I would say, which is pretty fast, actually. Usually for a feature like this, it would take more time, but the team has made very good job, and it passed several stages of green lights and approvals faster than comparable features. So it's quite a success from the team working on this one in this regard.
And then just because somebody's mentioned that players have to take or leave what they give in the changes, not if you take part in the sandbox and have your say. If you're outvoted, then yes, but overall, that's why it's on Sandbox for the feedback, guys. How long will Sandbox run for? Is there an expected end date?
Yeah, it's just for a week, and you can check exact times on the portal article of when it stops.
So this is a Crew 2.0 question. That's a big niet. RT Slayer, I'm not going to be able to tell you, give you the answer to this because it's not field modification question.
I mean, I can answer that.
Okay.
What I can say is I cannot tell you. I know, but I know some things, let's say, but I'm not allowed to discuss it.
So,
but it's awesome. No.
Can you tell us what else is being worked on? No. Done.
Well, I can, but I don't want
to. Somebody's asking if they can reset their credits on Sandbox. Is there a way for them to earn another 100 million?
I think we've done that once. There is a way. I don't know if we will do it. If it shows a problem and it's like we realize majority of the player testing it are completely out of credits and cannot keep testing, then I think we would consider it.
Just use an alt.
Also.
More accounts on it. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's mark this one. Here's an interesting question. I honestly thought I was expecting to see this question a lot earlier. How will field modifications update benefit the free-to-play players?
Well, it's not necessarily supposed to. That's not our goal to benefit, especially the free-to-play players. It's not our goal either to make it worse for them. But that's not the goal. That's not. We didn't say, okay, we will make a feature that will benefit free-to-play players. No, I think it might benefit them, especially with the second loadout. Like, let's say if you realize you're top tier, then you can switch to a different ammo loadout, and you can use only standard and save credits. So I would say that's one way. Let me see if I can think of something else. I think I'd had something. I don't know. Maybe it will get back to me later.
It's more customizability for some people. Some people will like it, some people won't. I don't think it matters whether you're a free-to-play player or not. It's just, if you like customizing things, you're going to enjoy it. I think that's the bigger thing. So that was the very last question. Or many of the other surprise questions we have right now end up being non-related to field experience. Like you see right now in all caps. Oh wait, here's one. Were there more diverse modifications considered instead of 2 per level? What was the value into giving small boosted vehicle characteristics per level? So why did we choose the small increments that we did, or was there a plan for more vast changes?
And also about the dual modifications. So from what I've seen from the earliest drafts, it was always supposed to be 2. Like, we didn't consider 3 options. And I don't think there are plans like to change that. And the value of the standard modification is kind of like, it's an incentive. It's like, it's a small bonus to make you want to get it. Like, it should not be a huge impact, but it's just to make it more attractive. And as you go up, then you get the real interesting part, which is to make the choice of which dual modification you need. Yeah.
Okay. Here's one. What is your personal opinion on it? Would you change something?
On the field modification?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Interesting question, but my personal opinion. So, personally, I'm a huge fan of the customize your gameplay and being able to make it like unique to your experience and your playstyle. So for me personally, any change which goes in this direction, I love it. So yeah, that's what I like most about it.
Mm-hmm.
And is there something I would change. I know it's a hard question. Obviously, I cannot say, oh, it's really bad, but I don't think so. Maybe like more choices in the dual modifications, like go even further in this direction, like even more impactful, like negative bonuses, so that like maybe, yeah, so that it's a choice, and when you take this, you're really making a significant choice as a player. So I really like that, and if it could be even more, then probably I would like it even more.
Thank you for that question. Champete says the answer is probably an article, but they're too lazy to check. Will the upgrades for tier 6 tanks be cheaper compared to those at tier 10?
So, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I cannot answer that. All the prices on Sandbox for now, are provisional, is not final. So I think this would be still up for discussion, and I can see both being, selected, same for everyone, or more expensive for higher tiers. It's like both would make sense. So I don't know which one will be decided ultimately.
So Kamikaze, I know that you're trying to, you've got to understand the questions need to be about field modifications, so that's where I will focus the question to, especially if it's that large of a question.
Also, by the way, so I'm reading the chat and I see someone saying like, oh, did someone expect that I will say I dislike it? Like, yeah, let's be honest, obviously I wouldn't say that, but it doesn't mean I dislike it. I do think it's a good addition. Like I personally believe in it. So.
So why, Exo's asking, why do they have to buy something again if they've already purchased it? Why can they not choose one option and then just change it for like 10,000 or something else to swap it?
We're talking about the duel.
I'm assuming the duel. There was no context. He just went straight into why would he have to buy this twice?
So you can remove it for free if you don't like it, and then you have to, so don't think as purchased like an item, but it's more like a skill that you unlock, and then if you forget about it, then you have to unlock it again. And we made it this way on purpose, so that you cannot change it all the time, and that when you pick it, it's an impactful decision. And like you can change it if you want, but this has a cost. So you better think about it and make a smart decision.
You said that mods won't stack with equipment. Does that mean turbo and modifications won't stack?
Yeah, it won't stack. So it will add, but if you have a bonus like in percentage, if it says like plus 10% to something, it will not take the bonus from, let's say, vents. It's from the base stats of the vehicle.
Yep. So yeah, and it doesn't get stacked on top of each other in that you can't have 5% from vents and then times that 5 by 7. Okay, so this is Kamikaze's question, and I'm going to try and read it related to this. So that apparently things like clan wars often require specialized loadouts for clan players opposed to random battles, hardening and turbo on an IS-7 instead of stabilizer and vents. And there hasn't been the rest of the question on there, so I'm going to have to scroll up to figure out what he was saying, because the question is so big it wouldn't fit on one message. But what's your question, Kamikaze? I've scrolled up and it's not actually there. So how will this matter to competitive players and how it will affect players? Well, overall it shouldn't, because you can have a competitive loadout and then a non-competitive loadout if you choose to.
So, I mean, it should affect them same as everyone in the sense that they have more option to customize their gameplay. they shouldn't be much stronger overall, like just a little bit, but that's how it would affect.
Okay, so this is in reference to, because of this, will there be a situation where all equipment gets demounted?
So I cannot answer that because like nobody knows.
Mhm.
This is about how will we do the transition? How will we implement this? So first we will worry about do we want to implement it? Is it good enough to be implemented? And once we have figured that out, we will think about how are we going to do this, how are we going to do the implementation and the transition.
Okay, so hopefully that answers you this time, Kamikaze. Hopefully. Cool. So somebody else is saying they play other games that require them to swap and change things back and forth, battle to battle, without paying credits. Is there a reason we chose? You've already answered this briefly, but is there a reason we chose to not remove credit requirements and allow players to change things at will?
Sorry,
Sorry. So, like, is there a reason why we chose to make players you have to use credits to change things when other games do not?
yeah, I would say because it brings more money. That's typically a decision to bring money. Sorry, I know. Not everyone likes to hear that, but you know it's a free-to-play game, and there are always mechanics that are supposed to make the players spend, and maybe if you're curious about what we do with this money, I would say like we have big spending points that would be development of a World of Tanks and publishing. Like it's David and me. If you think Ikibu works for free, you'd be wrong. He makes a big bug. And we have marketing, like bringing new players. It's super expensive. And we're also working on other games, you know, that you might never have heard about, but it costs a lot of money to make them, and it doesn't bring anything. And maybe you would work for years on a game, and it doesn't bring anything. So World of Tanks allows us to do this type of investments and come up with like new big projects. So yeah, that's a money related decision, but also I think it's important for people to remember that this money is not directly, you know, in our pockets and just for, you know, it's going back into the business, but you know, all these decisions are made at a much higher level than us, to be honest.
Okay. EXO, we've already answered this one twice now, and you've been here during that time. Have Wargaming considered to allow people to choose 3 options instead of 2 for each slot, for each level of it? The first item versus the second item, but if you place a third one with pros and cons related to the other 2, maybe it will be more attractive. So I think what they're asking is, are there any plans to expand the choices? So right now you either choose one that improves aiming time at the expense of reload time, one that improves reload time at the expense of aiming time. Has it been considered to have a third option?
Well, the third option is you don't take any, right? But a third option like
so like it's in between the two of the in between the first 2.
Yeah, so that would be none. I'm not sure I understand. Or another that would impact completely different characteristics.
The way it said it is that with pros and cons related to the other 2. So I'm assuming it means that like maybe it's not as high a penalty on reload time. Maybe it's like 2.5, like half of the penalty and half of the benefit.
So yeah, so I don't think that would have been considered. To be honest, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. It seems like, you know, pretty much the same, but not so impactful.
Mhm.
So I don't see much value in this, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, I did get the question right. Thank you, Undermask. Will personal reserves and daily bonuses affect the progression of XP for the field modification?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Will personal reserves, daily bonuses, etc., affect the progression of field modification progress?
Yes, if you have a XP booster, then you will get more XP and you will be able to unlock faster.
Okay. If you're getting some of your phrases blocked, try changing a couple of words that are naughty, and it should be fine, because a lot of people have been able to ask them. How did you assign roles for tanks below tier 10? Or how did we, sorry?
So usually I don't think there are exceptions to this. It's well, same role as the tier 10 from the same line. I might be wrong, but I don't think there are any exceptions. Someone pointed out that maybe there should be exceptions. So we'll keep an eye on that. Maybe the most difficult would be about premium tanks, but usually for premium tanks, we try to make them like you know, similar gameplay style, like a smaller version of a tier 10.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, we would try to give it the same role as the line or tier 10 it's supposed to represent.
Okay, so yeah, an example somebody just given is that the E50M is an assault medium, whereas the Panther one is more versatile, like sniping, rather than something that goes up and brawls.
Yeah, this has been brought up.
Yeah.
Maybe we consider moving specific vehicles, but at this stage, that's how it's been done.
Yeah, it's purely very early testing. Okay, so I know we're coming up to the end of our time, so I want to thank you very much for all the awesome answers and putting up with some of the repetitive questions. And otherwise, thank you very much for helping out communicate a lot of this. And I hope you pass on that the Manticore needs to get even better modifications on there to make it glorious.
Of course.
Just for me. Just for me. Nobody else has allowed it. I'll let you say goodbye to everybody and have the final word. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next stream, guys. And yeah, I'll let Luca do the sign out.
So I would say, yeah, thank you, Ikibu, for setting up this stream together, allowing us for this more direct communications with the players. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you to Jack, our technical guy, helping us, and especially thank you to everyone who's watching, participating, asking questions and trying to be constructive and participating in the Sandbox. As I said, that's incredibly valuable for us to get your participation and answers to the survey, and that's how we can make this feature and this game together the best for everyone. So thank you for that. We are happy to bring this communication, trying to be as transparent as possible. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, see you on the Sandbox.
Thank you. Okay, I need to press the right button.